A prequel to Monsters Inc. Monsters University. A prequel is what leads up to the stuff to come. Okay, now that's out of the way, let's get to the base of the film. So, Mike, when he's little, is basically picked on, but doesn't really see it. He just sees them as friends, and he knows he isn't going to be a scarer, but he don't want to accept it. So, he tries his best to become a scarer. Right at the beginning of the film, you can tell just how he is. You can tell that he's not afraid to be who he is, which is cool. Anyway, they go to the Monsters Incorporated for a field trip, and when they're there, they meet a guy, and he just tells them to see who's better, Monsters University or the other university. I can't remember that name. But Mike wants to see, but where he's so small and everyone's so taller, he can't see, so he's just budging his way through. There's a safety line in case children touch you, which basically is bad for you. So, they can't go over the line. Mike can't see, he goes over the line. The guy who went to Monsters University, who he likes, straight away, he goes into the room that he's in, and the guy don't even notice he's in there, which is cool. And the guy does his raw. Mike and the guy come out, and he's like, so, why is everyone just standing here so shocked? And then he turns around and there's Mike, and he goes, whoa, kid, I didn't even see you there. And then he realizes Mike is about to get shouted at by 1,000 people. And then he just thinks to himself, I'll be kind. So, what he does is very nice. He goes, I didn't see you. And he sort of winks and gives him a hat. A few years pass, he collects some cards about all the top scarers. That's when he gets to Monsters University. The people who picks on him, still not really liking him, he goes down the bus saying goodbye to everyone, and they don't really care. Not even the bus driver. So, when he gets there, he's all greeted and he seems really happy, and nothing seems to be bad. Then, later on in the film, he goes to his college room. Randall, the bad guy from Monsters Inc., is there. That's his college roommate. So, they start off as friends. Later we know they won't be friends. If you're lucky, you will remember from the first film that Randall says about the winds of change. If you look in the background, above Randall's bed, there's a picture of some trees moving like that, like to the side, and it says the winds of change, and it says what he says as well underneath it, but I couldn't read it. Anyway, so Sully isn't in the film yet, and you're just waiting for him to appear because you know something cool's going to happen. And when they're inside a lesson, Mike is trying to say all the best ways to scare. And I'm not going to say what happens next because it's a spoiler, really. But Mike seems to be a complete utter jerk straight away, and isn't nice to anyone, really. So, Mike and Sully, Mike doesn't like him, Sully don't know Mike straight away. But one night changes it all. Sully finds a pig that he stole just to annoy some people, and it jumps into Mike Wazowski's room and picks up the hat. So Mike wants the hat back, so he chases after the pig with Sully. And they chase, and they chase, and they chase, and then they get the pig and the hat back. So skip later on, when they're into the scare bit, and they're doing a simulation of all the stuff. Mike has been doing really well at school, and Sully not so well. He's been doing really bad. So it's all down to now. Sully is with a good gang, But if he does bad in this test, they won't like him anymore. So Sully's feeling under pressure. Mike's under pressure because he's been waiting his whole life for this. Nothing can go wrong. All they need to do is keep out of each other's way. Oh, they do a scare-off between themselves, knocking over something, and then they both end up being expelled from that classroom. And Mike is really bored because he's been waiting his whole life for this. Sully's really angry because his whole family, he's just let them down by being kicked out of the scarers class. So, what happens now is Sully just stares at him like for ages in like all of Mike's classes, and Mike's just like all bored and stuff. So, they don't seem to be getting on well yet. So, what happens next is Mike remembers that he got a leaflet for the scare games, sort of like a Hunger Games, but for scaring and no killing. But anyway, Mike runs past Sully, and Sully's like, "Ooh." No, and they're all like Sully chases him, and then the Uzama, I think that's their name. Can't remember. I only watched it today. But anyway, the Uzama is who Mike ends up being with, is in their team just so they can get into the scare games, and they need one more person. And the wager is, if they win the scare games, Mike gets to go back in that lesson and try to become a scarer. Hold on, wait, but didn't Sully want to do this as well? Plot twist. So, Sully goes in with them, but the deal is, if they lose, Mike is expelled from Monsters University forever. So, pretty bad. Anyway, so Uzuma, the worst team, and Mike and Sully, the one smart and one really good at scaring, they go to the Uzuma, I think that's their name, it's really confusing, go to their fraternity house, which is one of the people's there's mum's house really, and it's just really funny from there on. But then later on, people get kicked out for cheating and stuff, and I'll skip past all that because it's like major spoilers and stuff. Major spoilers. And in the end, it's like Mike and Sully finally get to be friends. Like, they become friends. They like find each other nice and that. And you see how they work up from the mail room in Monsters Inc. to the scare floor, which is cool. And I reckon everyone should see it. It's really good. I wouldn't call it a rubbish film. I wouldn't call it a really good film, but I'd call it a good film. So I'd probably buy it on DVD. And next week, probably my hand just moved really weird. Next week is the internship that hopefully I will upload. Goodbye.